Yo, what's good, people? We are here with Condensed by Phil Hine, part 35, read by yours truly. Witches, wizards, warlocks, magicians, magus, and magi. Get yourselves ready. We're digging through that toy box for trinkets still. We found the candles, and now we found a piece of string. I bet you're ecstatic. There is much that can be done with a piece of string. Enchantment using knots is well known within modern witchcraft revivals, as is the use of string to create webs, labyrinths, cat cradles, and other complicated tangles which have spells whispered into them or have become the focus for enchantments. Braided pieces of hair can also be used as power tools, particularly if the hair was sacrificed to assist in a particular goal. For example, cutting one's hair to improve job prospects. The hair of dead relatives or associates can be easily imbued with mythic power. Givens. This term denotes anything which you have been given, which does not have an immediate purpose yet is significant due to the circumstances in which you received it or the associations which you attach to it. It becomes magical due to it being a gift, the sort of thing which you might never formally imbue with magical power, yet which ends up in your toy box, power bundle, and altar anyway. Found objects. Found objects are similar to the above, but tend to be the things that you pick up for no very good reason, and then find yourself loath to throw away. Eventually, you will find a use for them. Years ago, I found part of an old telephone handset. I carried it around for months and eventually found myself listening to it at odd moments. At first, this was just a playful form of weirding out whoever I was sitting next to. By and by, I found that by make-believing that I was listening to a particular friend using the phone, she would invariably turn up within 5 minutes of me chatting to her. Of course, the more I tried to deliberately use the phone to call her, the less likely she was to appear. Other examples of found objects include bits of animals, odd shards of circuitry, things which are probably pieces of something bigger. Crystals. Crystals have been much hyped as items of almost universal magical application, depending upon what you read, that is. Crystals have curative powers, can be used for safe sex, buried in the earth as gifts to Mummy Gaia, used in conjunction with ley lines to contact dolphins, and their misuse has even been claimed as a deciding factor in the fall of the Atlantean Empire. On a perhaps less prosaic level, crystals can be used for scrying. Dr. John Dee, for example, used a ball of obsidian crystal in his magical experiments. Crystals have also, from ancient times, been used as talismans, and any good book on crystals will provide you with a list of symbolic attributions for crystals. One magical use of crystals, which has been ignored by New Agers, is the use of crystals as spirit traps. Again, this is a very traditional use, there being many tales of entities being lured into crystals and other types of receptacles. It is certainly possible to trap an entity in a crystal, and you can also designate a crystal as a home for an entity. They can be used as personal power objects and, if nothing else, they look pretty on an altar. Dominoes and dice. Dominoes and dice have obvious associations with games. There are also divination techniques using them. Wood. Pieces of wood can be useful at times. The stick from a lollipop, for example, with runes or sigils added, can be used to make a nondescript talisman. The act of hammering a nail into a piece of wood can become the physical component of an act of enchantment. Crayons and chalk. Chalk is the unsung magical tool of traditional magical approaches, which called for circles, triangles, and complicated names to be laid down upon floors. Crayons obviously can be used in creating pictures, yantras, etc. Pendulums. A pendulum can come in handy occasionally, especially for finding a lost or hidden object. On at least 2 occasions, I have turned up at friends' houses to find them methodically turning the place upside down in search of some small but apparently item. A calm scan around the room with the pendulum turned up the lost item in unexpected places. You can also use pendulums to dowse a map or to answer simple yes-no questions. It is often useful to be able to perform acts of divination without using complex systems such as runes or tarot cards, and even tea leaves, which tend to be scorned by magicians as unworthy of contemplation, can have their uses. Balloons. The act of blowing into a balloon can be used to project a magical intent. Alternatively, you could cast a sigil by attaching it to a balloon filled with helium and launch it into the atmosphere. Busting a balloon can be used to climax a ritual, and of course, you could use balloons in accordance with color correspondences. The truly adept could even form them into shapes to represent fetishes or animals. Figures. Several years ago, I had around my house a ceramic pixie figure, a souvenir from a holiday. One day, I decided that I would give this pixie the ability to find things that were lost around the house. Whenever I mislaid something, I would go and ask the pixie where it was, and then keep looking. After I found the lost item, I would go and thank the pixie, and sometimes put a silver coin under its base. Over time, this routine worked very well, and I persuaded other members of the household to go ask the pixie, where they had mislaid household objects, and, when they had found what they were looking for, to go and thank him. This is a very basic approach to magical evocation, and I have found over the years that the most effective way to feed a spirit is to attribute any successes which relate to its sphere of operation to its action, and to develop a relationship with it. Alright, we're going to stop there, and we will return tomorrow to discuss magical weapons. That sounds hectic.